What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juice Box presented by Lock City. You got Wighty and Munz here today. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good week. Today we have episode 168 of the Juice Box, which will be an outlook into this weekend's UFC Fight Night, taking place again for back-to-back weeks in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Apex. This weekend's main event will be Roman Dolidze and Anthony Hernandez, but we do have a lot of pretty entertaining fights and a couple of fights I'm not really looking forward to on the forefront of the card. Munz, how are you feeling about this weekend's card?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest card, but it's something to watch, especially with the summer of only baseball and UFC weekly. So something to keep us entertained on the weekend. So I'm somewhat looking forward to it, but like I said, not the greatest card, but should be okay. Should be okay. All right, diving into the main card. The first fight we're looking at is Eryk Anders and Christian Leroy Duncan. Eryk Anders is coming into this one with a professional record of 17-8-0, being 9-8-0 in the UFC with one no contest. Sorry, I don't think he has a no contest. I'll double check that. He's 3-2 though in his last five on a current 2-fight win streak. He has 11 wins by finish. 11 KO TKOs and one by submission. Christian Leroy Duncan, on the other hand, is coming into this one with a professional record of 11-2-0, being 4-2-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last five, coming off a win in his last fight. He does have 9 wins by finish, 8 by KO TKO, and 1 by submission. Looking over at the tail of the tape, Christian Leroy is the younger fighter by about 8 years. He's 30 years old. He holds a slight height advantage and a decent reach advantage. Anders, though, has been fighting the UFC for quite some time. Leroy is a bit newer, but he has 6 good fights under his belt in the UFC, with his losses coming to Armin Petrosyan, I believe, and Greg Rodriguez. So 2 pretty notable people to be fighting against. Anders is coming off that KO win, though, although it was to Chris Weidman. How you feeling? How you feeling about it?
First off, I want to say that Christian Leroy Duncan's name gives me the vibe of someone that would kill like a president, like a John Wilkes Booth or a Lee Harvey Oswald or a James Earl Ray. But I am going to go with Christian Leroy Duncan on this one, despite the odds being pretty disgusting. It's minus 550. I think Eryk Anders is durable. I don't think this is going to be necessarily an easy fight for CLD by any means. Eryk Anders is strong. He's physical. He's won 3 out of his last 5, but he is 38 years old. He did get dropped by Chris Weidman in his last fight. So give me CLD here. I think maybe by decision, but definitely on the money line at minus 550, unfortunately, for call the card to kick us off. But maybe he can give us a knockout and kick off the main card with a little bit of a bang.
Yeah, that would be nice. It would be nice to see that. I did not know the odds were that bad.
Yeah.
I'm also on Christian Leroy Duncan myself. I don't think Anders has it in him to take it, but he's definitely going to put up a good fight, as you said. He's a strong opponent to be up against.
Yeah. Pretty lopsided.
Very much so. Those odds are disgusting, but let's move on here. Our next fight, we have Miles Johns versus Gene Matsumoto. Miles Johns coming into this one with a professional record of 15-3-0 with one no contest, being 6-3-0, one no contest in the UFC. He's 3-1-0, one no contest in his last 5. He's coming off a decision loss. He has 6 wins by finish, 4 by KO TKO, and 2 by submission. Gene Matsumoto is coming into this one with a professional record of 16-1-0, being 2-0 in the UFC, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a split decision loss in his last. 2-1 in the UFC. He has 9 wins by finish, 3 KO TKOs, and 6 by submission. If we look over at the tail of the tape, Matsumoto is the younger fighter by about 6 years. He's 25 years old. He has the reach advantage by a pretty good amount. Miles, though, has the slight height advantage. This one's pretty straightforward to me. I'm sticking with the Brazilian in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go Matsumoto here. I know that I did go against him in his last fight when he was 16-0, which actually paid off. He lost to Rob Font. But I think Matsumoto is the cleaner fighter, the more technical fighter. Both of these guys are talented. They just have two, in my opinion, very different fight styles. I think ultimately Matsumoto's more composed, cleaner striking is probably going to be what wins in this fight. Again, I think probably a decision here. I think the first like 4 fights on this card, I'm leaning decisions, but give me Matsumoto on the money line. It's minus 300. That's not bad. I think that's fair. And then via decision is minus 125 on Bet365 would be my lean
Okay.
for
Okay.
methods.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I like that decision pick right there. It was a pretty decently close fight in my opinion against Rob Font. Yeah, but I think he's going to bounce back, and this will be the first win to start another streak. Looking over at the next fight, we got Andre Fili and Christian Rodriguez. So Andre Fili is coming into this one with a professional record of 24-12-0 with 1 no contest, being 12-11-0 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, and he's coming off a submission loss in his last fight against Melquizo Costa. He has 13 wins by finish, 10 KO TKOs, and 3 by submission. Christian Rodriguez is coming into this one with a professional record of 12-3-0, being 5-3-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, and he's also coming off a decision loss in his last to Melquizo Costa. He does have 7 wins by finish, 3 by KO, TKO, and 4 by submission. So if we look over at the tail of the tape, Rodriguez is a younger fighter by 8 years. He's 27 years old. Andre Fili holds both the reach and height advantage. Andre Fili has been fighting in the UFC since UFC 166 in 2013. Like, this guy's been through it all. How you feeling?
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I think give me Christian Rodriguez in this one, but I don't necessarily feel safe about it. The issue for me, I think, with C-Rod is that we've seen him beat up on all sorts of prospects, but he doesn't really have a noteworthy win over anyone who is tried and tested in the UFC, like an Andre Touchy-Fili. Andre Fili has 36 professional fights, including a 12 and 11 UFC record. These guys both just lost to Melquizo Costa, Fili by submission, and C-Rod by decision. I almost want to take Andre Fili here because I think it's about 50-50, and my gut tells me C-Rod might win this, but the Andre Fili odds are pretty juicy. But give me C-Rod to get maybe his first respectable win over a veteran in this one. He is minus 250 on the money line. And then I think in terms of methods, another decision here. It's plus 110 for C-Rod.
You definitely see it going to decision. I'm also on C-Rod, mainly because, both these guys just lost to Melquizo Costa, but Andre Fili got submitted. C-Rod at least was able to bring it to the cards and to decision. So
Yep.
just off of that alone, I'm going to take Christian Rodriguez in this one. I think it's his time to, like you said, take a win against a notable fighter and the veteran Andre Fili and start climbing up the ranks in the UFC.
Yep. MMA math.
MMA math, baby. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, let's move on here. We got the ladies up next. Iasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. Iasmin Lucindo is coming into this one with a professional record of 17-6-0, being 4-2-0 in the UFC. She's 4-1 in her last 5, coming off a decision loss in her last fight. She has 11 wins by finish, 8 by KO, TKO, and 3 by submission. Angela Hill is coming into this one with a professional record of 18-14-0, being 13-14 in the UFC. She's 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off a decision win in her last fight. She has 6 wins by finish, 5 KO TKOs, and 1 by submission. Looking over at the tail of the tape, Iasmin is a much younger fighter by 17 years. She's 23 years old. Angela Hill is 40. They have the same exact height. Iasmin has the reach advantage. Another one that's pretty straightforward to me. I'm on Iasmin Lucindo.
I like it. I'm very surprised, to be honest, that this is the feature fight of the night, especially as it's the only ladies fight on the card. But maybe it makes sense since I'm thinking everything prior to this will also be a decision, so there's not really an exciting one to go with prior to the main and co-main. But make that 4 straight here, and I think it's going to be Iasmin Lucindo to win this one. I agree with you. Like you said, Angela Hill, 17 years older than Lucindo. I think Lucindo will be more effective in the clinch, could find good success in combinations. Probably a unanimous decision. We know exactly what we're going to get out of Angela Hill. She's been fighting forever, like you said, 40 years old. And as such, Iasmin Lucindo also knows what to expect out of her. So give me Lucindo on the money line, minus 200, I think is pretty fair and maybe even underpriced. And then I really like Lucindo via decision at minus 125.
Yeah, I like that decision as well. We know it's going to go to the cards and it's going to go to Lucindo. So definitely a very, very good pick. Maybe even JuiceBox Lock worthy.
Yeah, I like it for that.
All
Any of
right.
these first four on decision were the same on all four of them, but I think this one, like you said, ladies fight. It's the safest.
Most definitely. All right, you heard it here. The juice box locks for this UFC event: Yasmin Lucindo by decision minus 125.
Yep, minus 125 on bet 365.
Bet 365. All right, there we go. All right, moving on here. We have our co-main event: Steve Erceg and Odie Osbourne. So Steve Erceg's coming into this one with a professional record of 12-4-0, being 3-3-0 in the UFC, 2-3 in his last five on a current three-fight losing streak. He has 8 wins by finish, 2 by KO, TKO, and 6 by submission. Odie Osbourne is coming into this one with a professional record of 13-8-0 with one no contest, being 5-6-0 in the UFC, 3-2 in his last five, and coming off a TKO win in his last to put an end to his own three-fight losing streak. He has 10 wins by finish, 6 by KO, TKO, and 4 by submission. If we look over at the tail of the tape, Steve Erceg is the younger fighter by 3 years. He's 30 years old. He holds a slight height advantage, with Odie holding a pretty decently significant reach advantage there. But despite that reach advantage, I think this is Steve Erceg's best chance to put an end to his losing streak. What do you think?
I agree. I think this will be a pretty entertaining fight, and up until this point, probably the closest to a banger that we have on the card, and justified as a co-main for a fight night. I'm pretty excited about this one. We have Ode Osbourne fighting on basically a week's notice. Jun Sung Park got moved up a week to fight Tatsuro Taira after Amir Albazi pulled out. And this one, I think, like you said, going to be a really nice bounce back spot for Steve Erceg. He has lost three in a row, but when you look at those three fights that he has lost, they are to the current champion, Pantoja, Brandon Moreno, who's a former champion, and then Kai Kara France, who just fought for the title. So when you look at those three guys out of his four overall losses, and then you look at 13-8 overall Ode Osbourne, who's lost three of his last five to guys that most casual UFC fans haven't even heard of, outside of maybe Asu Almabayev, which might even be a stretch. So give me Steve Erceg here on the money line. It's gross minus 550, and Steve
Ooh,
Erceg double chance to finish the fight. I really like Erceg either TKO or submission. It's minus 135 on bet 365.
that's not too bad. That double chance there, but minus 500. Wow.
Yeah,
Uh, I was definitely leaning towards Steve Erceg, especially because Odie Osbourne's coming into this one off like about a week's notice, like you said. And I do think it's his best chance to put an end to the losing streak. So I was a bit undecided, but as of right now, I'm definitely on the side of Steve Erceg.
I like it. So we're like
Nice.
5 for 5.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even realize. Wow. Let's
Yep.
see. Let's see if we differ here. Our last fight of the night is the main event of the evening. We have Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. Roman Dolidze is coming into this one with a professional record of 15-3-0, being 9-3-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last five on a three-fight win streak at the moment. He has 11 wins by finish, 8 by KO, TKO, and 3 by submission. Anthony Hernandez is coming into this one with a professional record of 14-2-0 with one no contest, being 8-2-0 in the UFC. He's on a 7-fight win streak currently with 11 wins by finish, 3 KO, TKOs, and 8 by submission. Heading over to the tail of the tape, Hernandez is the younger fighter by 6 years. He's 31 years old. Roman does hold both the height and reach advantage, but not by too much. So this is going to be a pretty great fight, pretty great close fight in my opinion. Um, I'm I'm undecided. I think it can go either way. I don't even know the odds. I don't even want to know the odds, but yeah, I think it can go either way. Truly.
Yeah, I think it'll be close and closer than the odds are, which I'll tell you in a sec. But I do have to go with Anthony Hernandez. I think on this one, like you said, he's 14-2 overall, 8-2 in the UFC. He's on a 7-fight win streak. When you look at the guys he's beaten, only in the last like year and a half, 2 years, they're all respectable names. It's Brendan Allen, Michelle Pereira, Roman Kopylov, Edmund Shabazian, all good fighters. Dolidze is coming off of 3 wins on his own, and the most recent one over Vittoria is probably the most impressive out of all of them. But I don't know if he can do enough at 37 years old to stop Fluffy Hernandez on a 7-fight win streak. Fluffy's just too versatile. He obviously has a jiu-jitsu base, and he's finished 6 of his 8 UFC wins. 4 out of those 6 finishes were submissions. So give me Anthony Hernandez here on the money line. It's minus 335, and I'm hoping we can get a finish here in the main event one way or another. So give me Hernandez via submission at plus 210 is going to be my lean there, in just a hope and a prayer. But I do think he gets the job done on the money line. Is my hope.
Submission, eh? Damn. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look at this fight some more. I am leaning a bit towards Anthony Hernandez, but I gotta say, I gotta look at it a bit more and let it simmer.
It's fair. Dolidze is juicy. Is plus 250.
Those are nice odds, but those aren't gonna sway me. I'm not gonna let that sway me. I'm not letting the odds affect me anymore. That screwed us over a few weeks ago, and I'm not letting that happen again.
Yeah, fair enough. The 5 that we're the same on come out to altogether minus 450. I'm just gonna. It's like that though. It's plus 200, plus 290 for all 5 of
I
them.
mean, it's almost triple your money. You can't go wrong with
Oh, it
that, and
is
it's
almost 4 times your money. 3.91
four times.
times. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. So it's and they're almost guaranteed. Almost. Can't
I
promise
like them. No,
anything. I
I
like
like
them a
them all.
lot too. Yeah, me
And
too.
I really like our JuiceBox Lock there. This said no via decision, 125.
Yeah, that one's a very good one. I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. Well, if you guys want to find out what my pick is going to be for that main event, you know where to find it. Call the card when we drop it in just a couple days here. This UFC event is coming up this Saturday, August 9th. So we're going to get that out to you guys soon. But that's it for me. Anything else you want to add on here, buddy?
No, I don't think so. After this weekend, we do have a lot of fun UFC events to look forward to. Next weekend, it's going to be UFC 319. Dricus Duplessis and Hamzat Shemaev is the main event there. And then we got a couple of good fight nights after that. We got Johnny Walker and Zhang. We got Amavov and Shao Baralo. We got Lopez and John Silva, Bruno Lopez and John Silva. So a lot of good events coming up after this.
Oh yeah, looking forward to them all. Looking forward to every single one, especially the pay-per-view event next weekend.
Yep. And then that no shit UFC one will be sick a couple of weeks after that as well.
Oh yeah, that'll be dope. That'll be dope. Those ones are always good. All right. Well, from everybody at Lock City, best of luck to you all, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Take care.